What's up, everybody? Alex here. Welcome back to another video. And guess what? It's time for another thread response. These have been so much fun, and I don't know. That's it. I love doing them. But this one, I will say, is a little bit more special because I think there's like an element of sometimes of these threads where it truly is, yes, about showing some records and enjoying, showing you all some cool stuff, but also really about just supporting newer channels who are taking that step like so many of us did and putting out a thread and putting something out there. And I just love anything I can do to support that. So this thread is for Craig over at Spirit of Vinyl. He has put together his first thread. He is a new up and coming growing channel. I think at the time of this video in the mid 70s of subscribers. And for those people who have been doing YouTube, doing that first thread or that first contest or whatever it is, it's tough, man. Like it's not easy, and it's not easy to put yourself out there, and it's not easy to do this and all that kind of stuff. So, Craig, just congratulations. Here's to you and your continued success, and we're glad to have you here in the community. And yeah, I'm happy to answer some of these questions for you. Now, Craig's questions here are very... it's 5 questions kind of about our collection, like show a record that, this sort of thing. And so pulled some stuff here. It's 5 questions, answered most of them with one record, but some of them I did pull a couple of them just for fun. So Craig's first question for us was the oldest record in your collection. So I had to go back into the Discogs machine and actually sort it to see what was the actual oldest piece of wax I had, and it goes all the way back. It's a jazz record, all the way back to 1954, and the first record that Dave Brubeck recorded for Columbia Records, and that is Jazz Goes to College. So this is when his band, I think Paul Desmond's on here, Bob Bates, Joe Dodge, were literally traveling to all the universities and colleges across the country and playing that jazz. So this goes all the way back to 1954. This is an original press on Columbia. And here's what's funny for the label nerds out there that get all up, you hear people talking about, oh, that's a 6i this, that's a 2i that. Well, before there were 6i's, there was just the standard red, I wouldn't even say red, I mean kind of like that dark red, almost maroon style label. So this was even before the 6i, which didn't come, I don't think, until just actually a couple years later, maybe 56 or so. And so, yeah, the oldest record in my collection goes back to 1954, and it is Jazz Goes to College from arguably the best West Coast cool jazz musician, pianist ever, Dave Brubeck. So there's that. Second question is the record that you've owned the longest. So while that is, the actual record that is the actual oldest in the collection, this is the record that we've owned the longest. Now, I started really collecting and buying records back in 2020. And for me, I do remember distinctly, I didn't have to look this up. I knew that this was the first record I bought. What really got me into music and wanting to get into collecting and physical media was my love of progressive rock, especially early progressive rock. So, bands like King Crimson or bands like Yes and those types of bands. But really, the ones I wanted to find all the early stuff of was Genesis. And I remember the first record I bought was Nursery Crime. Nursery Crime, it's sort of, it is still to this day either my favorite or second favorite Genesis record. It's one of my favorite album covers of all time, the great Paul Whitehead there, kind of pulling it together. But, this obviously has, what other songs on here? Return of the Giant Hogweed, I think, is on here. You got the Magic Box on here. Fountain of Salmacis is on here. So much great stuff. Pulling this out here. Of course, on that famous Charisma label. This was not technically an original from 1970 or 71 or whatever it is, but I was so excited to have this one, and I remember I bought it for $3 out of like kind of a bargain bin, and it had some noise, and it still does, but to me that was always something that, I don't know, it was just cool, and I appreciated it. So yeah, I've had that the longest, still love that record, and I always remember that was the first record I bought when I got into records. Third, most obscure. So this is just, I don't know, weird shit. Like what kind of record is that? And I pulled a couple for this because I wanted to show something that's actually very obscure, and I'm like, why do I have this? This is dumb. And then like a very interesting pressing that I think is pretty cool. So in terms of the actual obscure thing, This is, I don't know, this is dumb. Big Band Sounds, the BGSU Jazz Lab Band. So BGSU is Bowling Green State University. It's a public university in Northwest Ohio, and it is also my alma mater, is where I went to undergrad. And so, as any big fan of their undergrad, I saw this in a store for a couple bucks, and I said, well, that's so fun. I'm going to buy a record that's got BGSU on it. So, yeah, it's a private press, a university press, whatever you want to call it. And it's them doing a bunch of standards from 1983, I believe. They did all of this. So, yeah, it's kind of cool. It's got the whole alma mater thing, you know, from college, and then it's some big band jazz, which is fine for what it is. It doesn't get a whole lot of spins, but I just think it's cool and obscure. Now, in terms of an actual pressing that I think is really cool, is my copy of Pink Floyd's Relics. This was an early comp of some of the early singles of the early kind of Syd Barrett type era, as well as obviously early David Gilmour era. Great record as it is, creepy as hell album cover, but what I thought was cool when I bought this was that it was a misprint and actually came with, if you can tell here, it's gonna be hard to see, so I apologize. You see there, that is side 2 with the track listing, and as I flip it, also is side 2 with the track listing. So it comes with 2 side 2s. They do not play side 2 both times, but it is an actual record that has a misprint on the label, and it's 2 side 2s. And I think that's obscure and kind of dope, and Pink Floyd fans love that shit. So next question is the Rarest. So a couple different ways to look at this, but I think, you know, the way that Craig was kind of pointing at was like maybe what was something in the most limited pressing number that you have. And so try not to show too much of this band because I show them enough, but it was something that came to mind, and they only pressed 300 of these, and there's a bit of a personal story, but I'm going to go with, this is a box set, Dream Theater, Distant Memories, live in London. So this was a live record that they released back in 2020, but I believe the actual concert came from 2019, and it was the same tour that I saw them on. The reason they call it Distant Memories was because they were celebrating 20th anniversary of Scenes from a Memory, which is my favorite album of all time. So they were playing that in its entirety, as long as with a number of other tracks, but specifically supporting Distance Over Time, their most recent studio album around that time. So this is a 4 LP live set with, you know, obviously 8 sides and lots of music and all the different stuff. So yeah, this was limited on white vinyl from Century Media in the amount of 300 only. So yeah, I guess it's my most limited or rarest sort of pressing in terms of actual numbers. And then the last question is, what is your most valuable according to Discogs, going by like the median price of Discogs? Funny thing, a lot of people don't know this. I've kind of relinquished the Swiftie title. I do like Taylor Swift's music for the most part. I don't like everything, but it was some stuff that I really grew up on and got into when I was in college. And it's kind of carried me through. And so I do enjoy her music. And like so many others, her stuff has just shot up in value, but specifically the most expensive record in my collection was this record that was released a couple years ago on Record Store Day. This is Folklore, the Long Pond Studio Sessions, you know, only available on Disney+. Yeah, so the story with this, Folklore was recorded, it was a COVID album, so everybody recorded it independently, and then the Long Pond Studio Sessions, which was part of like a documentary, was when the whole band and everybody got together and re-recorded it kind of as an actual group effort sort of thing. So this was released for Record Store Day a number of years ago and had an insane pressing quality. I mean, I heard numbers upwards around basically anywhere between 75,000 and 125,000. This currently, the median price on this is $330. $330 for that record. For the non-Swifties out there, or the people who probably watch my channel more for like the classic rock stuff, second Pink Floyd reference today, but wanted to show it. I guess my second most valuable record in my collection is this original master recording or Mo-Fi version of Adam Heart Mother. So this is back when Mo-Fi was cool. I guess they did like the one pressing of this in the early 90s, maybe 93, I want to say. This was numbered, so this is number 1258. And this is one of my favorite sort of unsung hero Pink Floyd records, I think. A lot of people don't talk about Atom Heart Mother, talk about the title track, but not the album as a whole. But I love this record. And yeah, this was 1970, I think this came out. But the median price on this guy here is $217. So there you go. Nowhere near the Taylor Swift number, but still pretty damn good, and happy to have that in my collection, of course. So there you go. You know, people, if you will, other YouTubers, other watchers, go check out Craig. If you like the content, give him a subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you all for watching. Craig, good luck. And again, thanks for doing this, and best of luck to you and your continued growth and success. Welcome to the family, the community, all that good stuff, and best of luck to you. Cheers, everybody else. Be good out there, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.